Senator Menendez, I believe, is now with us from New Jersey from his office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The defining feature of stablecoins versus other types of cryptocurrencies is that they claim to be backed by reference assets such as the dollar or another currency. However, without proper transparency, this only provides the illusion of stability for stablecoin investors. Madam Undersecretary, are market participants able to verify their portfolio holdings backing the stablecoins they invest in?
Stablecoin issuers, perhaps under pressure from investors and regulators, are providing self-audited statements. Some of the major ones are providing self-audited statements on their holdings, but regulators are not in place to confirm those or to set the standards for them.
Well, I look at Tether, which is the world's largest stablecoin, which was created with the promise of a one-to-one backing with the dollar. And instead, reporting from Bloomberg found that many Tether stablecoins are backed by risky loans to Chinese real estate companies. So it seems to me that transparency is a cornerstone of our economy. Consumers and investors make the best decisions when they have the necessary information. And that's why I've always advocated for robust disclosure rules in different areas of the financial system. How does the Treasury intend to, do you propose to increase transparency to ensure market participants properly disclose the value of the assets backing stablecoins so that investors can have a true understanding of the risks associated with such assets?
Yes, the PWG report is in favor of transparency of the assets. I think that's an important element in reducing run risk. I would mention, however, that transparency and disclosure are not sufficient to address run risk, that there still needs to be a certainty about the backing and the ability to actually deliver to an investor if they redeem their stablecoin. So it probably requires more than disclosure and transparency.
Okay, I'm for that. As stablecoins become more broadly used both as a payment method and as an investment vehicle, Congress and the financial regulators need to address their more illicit uses, including money laundering, fraud, and sanctions evasion. As the working group noted in its report, criminals often use the most common and liquid forms of value. So stablecoins could be a particularly attractive vehicle for money laundering and terrorist financing. And that report also noted that effective international implementations of AML standards is critical. So the Financial Action Task Force published updated guidance on virtual currencies in October. What's your understanding of the level of effective implementation by our global partners? Who's doing well and who's not?
Yeah, the illicit finance issues are of serious concern to Treasury. Treasury has been leading the work in the Financial Action Task Force, as you mentioned. They issued a report. They are continuing to work on this. As I understand, implementation of standards is not even across jurisdictions. There is concerns about lack of implementation, consistency in some, and they're working on those issues specifically. I think certainly my colleagues in FinCEN would be happy to follow up with you if you had additional questions.
Well, I'd like to. What are Treasury's priorities over the next 6 months with reference to increase that implementation?
So, as I mentioned, they are leading the Financial Action Task Force and focus specifically on implementation, especially exchanges that are operating in some foreign jurisdictions. I would mention the broader administration effort on digital assets is ongoing, and I understand there will be some more details announced in the next few weeks. So that can also provide some additional information. And again, we'd be happy to follow up with you on that.
Well, let me close by saying, as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, I'm particularly concerned that countries like Venezuela, Russia, Iran will continue to use digital currencies to evade sanctions, which would weaken one of our most effective policy tools in terms of foreign policy. The anonymity touted as a major benefit of stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies is inherently very useful for facilitating all kinds of illegal activity. And it's imperative that Treasury prioritize achieving concrete progress on this issue in the near term as the technology becomes a key part of the financial system. And we look forward to working with you on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Menendez. Senator Haggerty of Tennessee is recognized.